A brand new day to you. You are tuned into Idea Morning Digest on Idea TV, your morning guide to the trends, stories, and breakthrough, reshaping our life, work, and growth, and everything concerning us. Thank you for joining us on Idea Television this morning as we take you through all our stories for this morning. And don't forget, do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Idea Television. Today, I'm not alone. I'm with my beauty.
In the meantime, we'll quickly look at the headlines before we go on a short break. First being that new voter registration hits 2.68 nationwide as Osun maintains lead. We'll also be looking at Nigeria's Agric sector lags in technology, AFDB warns. And we also see FG6 speedy trial for terrorists. And we're also seeing Burkina Faso grounds Nigerian military aircraft over airspace violation. That's all we'll be seeing this morning, but let's go on a short break. When we return, it'll be time for us to take you through the story. Stay with us.
Number 1, synthetic biology advances. Synthetic biology is pushing science into new territory. Using AI-guided gene editing, researchers are engineering organisms to produce biofuels, biodegradable plastics, and even synthetic meat. In 2023, Ginkgo Bioworks announced partnerships to design microbes that can manufacture sustainable chemicals at scale. Moderna and BioNTech are expanding mRNA technology beyond COVID vaccines to treat cancer and rare genetic diseases. The global synthetic biology market is expected to surpass $30 billion by 2030. By 2026, the line between biology and technology will blur even further, making synthetic biology one of the most transformative fields of the decade. So there you have it, 15 more technologies that, alongside the first 17 we covered, are set to define 2026. Together, they show how quickly innovation is moving beyond our screens and into every corner of our life, from the materials we use to the way we connect and even how we think. And if you missed part 1, make sure to check it out next. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now.
Welcome back to Idea Morning Digest this morning, as we're going to be taking you through the stories shaping the world. And right about now, we're going to start with our first story over.
69, Sokoto with 152,650, Imo 145,561, Borno with 123,835, Lagos with 123,480, Fanjiga with 116,246. The FCT recorded 106,855, while Kogi and Zamfara posted 103,750 and 101,511 respectively. Other state with notable figures include Katsina, Delta, Kaduna, Ogun, Kebbi, Niger State, Oyo, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers State. At the lower end of the table are Plateau, Taraba, Enugu, Ondo, Cross River, and Abia State. INEC has reminded the public that the first quarter of the CVR ends on December 10, while registration in Anambra remains suspended due to ongoing electoral activities. A new resumption date will be communicated later. The Commission also announced that the display of the registered voters for claims and objections will hold from December 15 to 21st. Urging citizens to verify their details and raise objections where necessary to safeguard the integrity of the voter register. I like do I call this a good turnout? I think for Osun to be leading with the voter registration, it just tells a lot about the electoral awareness in that country. Stressing over getting your details. Now that the INEC people, their head is still calm. Before the whole pressure starts coming, it's good to go get yourself registered if you want to vote. And we encourage you to vote. It's your fundamental right to actually vote. You need to exercise that political authority as a citizen of any country, and you cannot decide without your vote. You cannot say, I want this person to be in power if you're not making sure your votes, count. And contrary to the fact that people think their vote doesn't count, it actually counts. It actually counts. You only need to take charge, ensure that you're, holding your electorate accountable, doing right by the procedure and just voting. But overall, I'm excited that Nigerians are not sleeping and not waiting for 2027 to take them by surprise, but they're already hitting the streets and going out to get themselves registered ahead of time.
What is happening right now, I think the reason why people feel that their votes do not actually count is because of a lot happened last time. People went out to vote with all the whole argument here and there, and all the whole, we voted, this is who we voted for, and we didn't vote for this person and all that. I think with everything that happened, that's the reason why some people are withdrawn. Like, they don't want to, you know, come outside to vote because they just feel that, would my vote even count at the end of the day? At the end of the day, they just feel, oh, they will just put anybody they want, our vote do not count. But I urge that we should go out there and vote because, yes, at this time around, when we're seeing all these things now put in place, we feel that 2027 is going to be a better year for us. And we look forward to 2027, actually, and we know that definitely things are going to fall in right places. So if you have your voter's card, it's time to go out there and vote. Of course, your vote is going to count this time around, believe me.
I like the faith with which you're speaking. Your vote is going to count this time around. And I won't even lie, when you ask a lot of young people, why do you not have your voter card or why are you not interested in voting? They've been sold the idea that their votes do not count. They've been sold that idea. And it feels that way.
Yeah.
But how many young people actually stay true to count their votes? What makes you think that your vote doesn't count? So it's not like you vote and you go home. And well, it comes back again to the Electoral Council. It comes back to INEC. We've come to a point where we do not need to be counting ballot papers like we're doing election in primary school.
Exactly.
Can we now automate and digitize these things? It's about time.
Yeah.
We tried doing it in 2026. We tried that, in 2023. We can't do it again. And this time, with no errors, let us see how we can count using the beavers. How do we ensure that we're not just counting papers? Because up until the last election, people are still holding papers to count. 1, 2.
Exactly.
Anything could have happened. If not, during that process, water, rain, whatever. And so, if we want to make sure people have faith in their election or in their vote, it's possible. Why do we have all of this AI? Why do we have... And I'm sure this is a good place for needs that to even play a role. This is time to collaborate with our agencies that are into tech and all of that AI stuff. This is time to work with them. So we find a way to ensure that we are not just having election as usual. Things are now digitized. But let's head on to the next story. The next story says a former senior special advisor on industrialization to the African Development Bank, Professor Yebanji Oyeyinka, has warned that Nigeria's agricultural sector remains technologically outdated and unable to support the nation's development goals. Speaking at the Oyo State International Agribusiness Summit in Ibadan, the development economist said industrializing agriculture is Nigeria's only viable path to economic growth, food security, and poverty reduction. Despite vast fertile land, he noted, Nigeria remains a food deficit nation and spends over 1 trillion naira annually importing wheat, rice, sugar, and fish. An approach, he said, undermines farmers, discourages local production, and weakens agro-processing and manufacturing. Yelaran Oyeyinka criticized frequent policy reversals, particularly on planned imports, which he said would wipe out farmers' gains and deter private investment. He argued that Nigeria must shift from subsistence farming to a science-driven industrial agriculture model with mechanization, research processing, storage, logistics, and value-added export at its core. He urged federal and state government to stabilize policies, strengthen research institutes, and create an enabling environment for private sector-led investment. Governor Seyi Makinde in his remarks said Oyo State is repositioning agriculture as a business, partnering with IITA and the Cocoa Research Advanced Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone is saying an Iruwa. Dr. Deborah Kandi, Director General of the Oyo State Agribusiness Development Agency, described the state as Nigeria's agribusiness industrial hub, highlighting the need to stop exporting raw commodities and importing poverty. I stand with that statement. We've been for a very long time exporting our raw materials, Do you believe that we still have states in Nigeria that import toothpick? It sounds like a joke, but we still have states that import matches. Lighter, like the very little things that you would think, oh, we can just do. We still import them. How sad is it? And hearing this coming from, Chifakade and the likes, I'm happy they are saying this because this is what we've been speaking about since. We've been practicing the same pattern of agriculture for a long time. Why are we not seeing the potential in expansion? Why are we not seeing grounds to grow even further? The viable part now is industrialization. Is ensuring that I'm not saying do not export raw materials, but at what cost? At what expense? What do we stand to lose?
That is not even something that we can actually do ourselves. We are importing.
So we export our cocoa and then we bring in the beverages and they're sold expensively to us. We export our, shea butter, and then it comes in as different types of cream. And we're spending exorbitant amount of money to buy the same products. That is just importing poverty. That's what Fakandi is saying. That is just importing poverty.
Exactly.
And it shouldn't be the case. We have all it takes to be at the pinnacle of that greatness. We have all the natural resources. We have the manpower. What we always lack is implementation, is the policies. We have policies in many cases, but there's the right approach to these policies and implementation that often stands as a bottleneck. And I'm just here wondering, why do we have to keep preaching about industrialization of agriculture and it's like a national anthem every now and then we keep singing and singing and singing, but in practical terms we do not see it work, which is what we want to see happen.
Exactly. Talking about manpower here, I think the manpower here is not that strengthened yet, because I can remember back in those days when we were taught agriculture. If you were asked, for instance, what do you want to become in the future, you hardly see people that want to say, I want to be a farmer at the end of the day. I don't know. There is this thing that comes with it. They feel, oh, farming it's not for the young, it's for the old. I think the manpower needs to be strengthened in as much as we're looking at other things, implementation and all that. The manpower needs to be strengthened. How many youths these days want to actually come out and, invest, put more effort in agriculture, growing of these things, knowing that the little things we can do are not things we should go and start importing, are things we should do here, benefit from it. When we start doing all these things, we'll reduce the rate of poverty highly. We're going to reduce the rate of poverty in this country highly. When we start looking at those things and then doing them here ourselves. Nigeria is blessed with a fertile land that is blessed with natural resources. Things that, we can. I think we can. I so believe that we can.
And I hate to say that we still remain a food deficit nation. And that's very sad, considering Nigeria to be a hub of food. We have all manners of things here, raw materials. There's almost no state in Nigeria that is not blessed naturally in terms of food, in terms of raw materials. We have a lot of things that can keep us going.
Yes.
You go to some places and you can already feel from the ambience that this is a blessed land. You go to Ibadan, for instance, close to Lagos. Food is very affordable over there. And it just speaks to the abundance, the level of abundance that we enjoy. But then what that reminds us again is we are not harnessing that abundance properly.
Exactly.
And so until we are able to step out of the box, Nigeria will keep remaining a food deficit nation. We will keep importing poverty until we are able to strengthen local production, strengthen the human capacity that we have.
The manpower, exactly.
We need to ensure that the policies around agriculture are workable. And they're not just policies that are kept as addendums, but they are kept to be followed. The right approaches are there. The people who need to do what are doing it. Until then, we are just speaking English here. Well, you want to say anything else or we move to the next story?
Yeah, actually, you said a lot about it, and I feel that at this point, we should stop importing poverty, like he said in his comments. We really need to do our best. we really need to do our best. Like Benue has been described as the full basket of the nation. As the full basket of the nation, what and what? Right now, you go to Benue State, you want to buy oil, and it will be hard for you to see the way the original oil used to come before, the way it used to come, because they have a lot of, setbacks here and there. Nobody's taking it more serious. Aside what has been happening in Benue State, I'm talking about the killings that has been happening. Aside that, and people run away from their farms and all that, they're not putting effort to, standing for that name, full basket of the nation, where you will go there, you will see everything you want to buy it in bulk, cheaper rates, actually. You understand? So if we don't put effort in these things and we don't implement them, definitely there is no how we're not going to export, and that's going to cost us a lot.
All right, thank you. I think with that we can move on to the next story, and the next story is that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi SAN has called on the judiciary to expedite the trial of terrorism, kidnapping, human trafficking, and other violent crimes cases to strengthen national efforts against insecurity. Speaking at the opening of the Court of Appeals 2025 and 2026 legal year in Abuja, Fagbemi said the judiciary must play a decisive role in dismantling impunity and protecting citizens. He noted that swift hearings would complement the government's kinetic and non-kinetic strategies against terrorism, adding that President Bola Tinubu's administration is committed to appointing more federal high court judges to handle terrorism-related matters promptly. Fagbemi stressed that the government prioritizes timely prosecution of suspects linked to mass casualty attacks, kidnap for ransom networks, extremist recruitment and terror financing rather than relying on prolonged detentions or battlefield engagements. Also speaking at the event, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, assured judicial officers of improved welfare, disclosing new budgetary provisions for additional residential accommodation for judges. He said better living conditions would allow them to focus fully on justice delivery. Wike added that the FCT administration had handed over the certificate of occupancy for land allocated to the Supreme Court and commenced full perimeter fencing to boost security at the Apex Court. He highlighted ongoing projects including residences for heads of courts, new court complexes, and staff quarters at the Nigerian Law School. The minister reaffirmed the FCTA's commitment to justice sector reforms, expressing optimism that the new legal year would bring greater efficiency and improve justice delivery across the judiciary. Well, this is good news, and I know that especially if you're speaking from a place of the ordinary Nigerian who has had to experience a hit firsthand of insecurity, you would understand what this news means. Expediting function and speed when it comes to executing terrorists, kidnap, extremists, and all of those people is long overdue.
Very, very.
Because it's gradually looking like a proper business.
I'm telling you.
Do you know that even those who practice one chance now are now calling themselves kidnappers? So I share a story. I got into a cab the other day, and one lady said that she was kidnapped just on her way to here in Abuja. She was kidnapped and somehow she found herself in Buhari. They drove her from where she had gotten the cab to Buhari. And they asked her to make a call to whoever can raise 500k. And said there was nobody on her contact, so they tied her. These people are one chance, right? The normal one chance people. They now tied her, called her dad. Dad wasn't picking, and they told her that if nobody takes the call, they'll kill her. So she started texting, I think, her partner or whoever, and then they were able to send the money. So when they got the first 500k, they realized that they could get more. They told her to call her mom. Her mom sent money so they were able to raise at least 1.5 million naira from her in one night. And after that, they dropped her. So they said from her story, she said they had told her that they are not doing one chance as usual. It is kidnap and get ransom. Wow. So you see that it is propagating into something different. There is a new layer every day. So it's moving from just one chance where they get your phone and push you away or whatever, to now threatening and tearing you down and doing proper kidnapping and asking for ransom before you're released. Before now, they would probably just ask you to transfer the money in your account or get your phone and, throw you off or park somewhere and ask you to go. Now, they call your family members, take a picture of you in custody and get them to be scared. So it's a whole business these days.
It's a whole business. And considering what is happening right now, if things are not put in place, I think this kidnapping something is something that will now be commonized to everybody living with, there's definitely going to be kidnapping, and people trying to, accept the fact that definitely now we're not living with it if things are not done properly.
Yeah.
And this kidnapping case is becoming very, very serious because you don't even know the location you're supposed to be, and when you are at that location, you are scared for your life. You don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know the vehicle you're entering. For most of us that do not have our personal ride, you don't know the vehicle you're entering, the boat you're taking, whether you're safe or not. This curiosity of always being safe will make a lot of people lose their job because your job will not be at a far location and you want to go there every now and then, or maybe return at night because of the kidnapping case. And the way it's going now, it's not taking a different shape and a different level. Even the lower or the lowest people that do all this knife collecting of phones on the way, they are now upgrading because they are saying that maybe government is not taking it seriously. So they are upgrading to, kidnapping people, holding people ransom. You understand what I mean? Like doing the other part of it. Before you know, they'll graduate to holding guns and, I don't know if I would say it's an encouragement to the lower set of people coming up, or I don't know, because this is becoming very, very, very serious.
And I think that's why usually I'm concerned about negotiating with these kidnappers.
Exactly.
I am always wondering, because every time you pay ransom to kidnappers, you're encouraging them to stay in business.
Yes, and those other ones are saying it and getting the courage that they can also do something. So I will not be surprised where after the negotiation they'll feel like, it's worked out well, so let's start our own. It might even be a nearby bush where everybody knows, and they are taking people there, uncompleted building, and they are also asking for ransom because they've seen that federal government is negotiating with these bandits. And of course, why won't families want to rescue their loved ones if the amount is not actually that big? They'll feel like,
I don't know if it's that big. They do GoFundMe, they come online begging for help and assistance from everywhere.
Yeah.
So that is what sort of raises concern. It's your loved one in custody.
Of course.
You can raise the money, of course. But however, these people thrive because ransoms are getting paid every now and then. So can we get our security architecture so fixed to the point where they get busted ahead of time?
Immediately.
And I know we can do it.
Or even tracked down.
That's what I'm saying. They can be tracked down. But every time we keep strengthening them, I like that the judges are already saying this, Fagbemi is saying all of this. Let us see how it turns out. And I also like that the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, has spoken about the welfare of the judges, because for these people to execute and pass judgments when they need to as well be well taken care of. Their welfare is of importance and they need to be protected. So it's good that their welfare is of a thing of concern to the federal government. And let's quickly see how this rolls out. But the last story before we call it a break on the news segment this morning, Burkina Faso has grounded a Nigerian Air Force C-130 aircraft after it reportedly entered the country's airspace without authorization. Just tells you again about our security architecture. Why are we flying over an airspace where we do not have clearance to do so? But let's quickly look at, what the social media space is saying about this development. We have I am Erelu saying, while they certainly have the right to protect their airspace, I also hope they acknowledge Nigeria's efforts in stabilizing the government or governmental affairs of their neighboring country, efforts that the affected government has greatly appreciated. Although we must criticize the incompetence of our elected officials, we cannot celebrate or endorse violent takeovers of government in this day and age. I hope all parties involved can find common ground, show mutual respect, and work together for the greater peace and progress of Africa. Okay, this BDBD now says, now that the president didn't seek National Assembly's approval before embarking on this adventure? How does he plan to negotiate their release? First of all, how did Bidi know that the president did not seek the approval from the National Assembly? Bidi, who gave you that information? Who gave you the information? Let's take more comments. Let's see more comments. But this is really an interesting turn of events. This is another reminder that ECOWAS under President has struggled to manage regional tensions effectively. This raises serious questions about our national security structure. That's what I'm saying. There are too many questions to ask. And while this doesn't look like a big issue, it tells you where we are at with our security architecture. How did we not get clearance to fly over Burkina Faso's airspace, and we are flying over there? And now we have 11 of our people held down in Burkina Faso.
It's very serious.
It's a serious issue. It's a serious one. How can we fix this one? Because right now, the people who have been held down are going through a series of investigations. And trust me, we need prompt intervention.
Exactly.
We need prompt intervention because just yesterday, I know we'll talk about this again. We started the conversation yesterday about Benin Republic. But we'll continue. There's a lot of tension across Africa right now. And there are certain things that you cannot afford to do. It raises a certain level of emergency alert. And you see how prompt Burkina Faso acted?
Very, very.
Swift.
I'm impressed.
Swift. So what can you say about the level of our security architecture? I've emphasized on this that there are certain things that we need to get. The fact that you've not gotten yours right doesn't mean another country is there meandering and playing, beating about the bush. You see how they were able to, jump into action knowing that, this shouldn't have happened. And now we have 11 of our people held down, 11 of our military personnel held down. We have to be sure that we are not going to cause any form of unrest. It's a precarious time, and I hope that nothing of sort happens.
I think I'm pleased with what actually happened. They're not totally pleased that our people are held back, but pleased that they actually took action immediately. I believe that we're going to come to that state one day. We're going to come to that level where things happen in this country and immediately actions are being taken instantly, and we'll start tackling it very, very fast. But again, somebody would want to comment and say that what exactly are they even doing there? Why take that out when knowing that they are not authorized to actually do that? It has happened. It has happened. The way forward is what we're looking at right now, and we want an immediate intervention so that at least when we know that, yes, we're having security challenges here, but we should attend to this immediately, so would also have this hope that, yes, our country is working, we're working to get things sorted out.
I like that we're hoping to work to get things sorted out, but at this point I think all parties, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, we have to come to a common ground. We must come to the table and have a conversation. Nigeria is a sovereign state. Burkina Faso is also sovereign. So everybody gets authority for it indeed.
Exactly.
And so you're not supposed to trample on the other person's rights.
Yeah.
There are boundaries to these things. And that's why I do not want to use the word disappointed, but I didn't expect that to happen from Nigeria. Proper clearance should have been done. But now that the deed has been done, what can we do? We need to come to a common ground, come to a mutual understanding. Burkina Faso, Nigeria, we are siblings. Let us come to that ground and have a discussion to see how can we get our brothers freed and how can we continue having the peaceful coexistence that we've been having, because I'm not sure I'm ready to run. I am not ready. I'm not ready.
Are you sure you're not ready?
I'm not ready. But with that said, let us quickly go on a short break now. We'll be back with the discussion segment to continue the topic, democratic decline in West Africa after Benin coup plot. Stay with us. It's still Idea Morning Digest.
5G technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
Number 1. Synthetic biology advances. Synthetic biology is pushing science into new territory. Using AI-guided gene editing, researchers are engineering organisms to produce biofuels, biodegradable plastics, and even synthetic meat. In 2023, Ginkgo Bioworks announced partnerships to design microbes that can manufacture sustainable chemicals at scale. Moderna and BioNTech are expanding mRNA technology beyond COVID vaccines to treat cancer and rare genetic diseases. The global synthetic biology market is expected to surpass $30 billion by 2030. By 2026, the line between biology and technology will blur even further, making synthetic biology one of the most transformative. Number 3. Sustainable tech and green computing. With data centers now consuming around 1 to 1.5% of the world's electricity, efficiency has become critical. Google, Microsoft, and Amazon are racing to power their data centers with renewable energy, while chip makers like NVIDIA and AMD are optimizing for performance per watt. Carbon capture startups are using...
See that, there's that struggle, there's just that unrest in those countries. But today we'll be looking at a few talking points for the Benin story. And this is very important because just today we are having a little squabble again, but this time around in the airspace with Burkina Faso. So this conversation is even more important now. We need to check ourselves. So what do we see first as this coup? We see coup attempts as symptoms, not isolated events. And how do I mean? The Benin incident is reflecting a broader regional pattern of democratic decline across the West African and the Sahel. So whether we are talking Mali, whether we are talking Burkina Faso or Niger, and now a country that everybody considered a democratic successor, that's Benin, we now saw an attempted coup. We saw it. And Mary, let me just give you a little background. A lot of people were saying yesterday when I was talking with Cynthia, I said, coup doesn't just happen. There has to be a trigger. There has to be something that's making your citizens not happy.
Definitely.
I will not be in a country where there's peace and I want to take over power. Why? I'm enjoying my life. Why do I need to fight? But people are speaking up, and even though a lot of you have said, the president of Benin his tenure was going to, expire in April 2026, so there was no need for the rush. Guess what? We found out yesterday that the Benin constitution had been readjusted to accommodate more time for the tenure of the president. That's why I said that there is usually a trigger. Things don't just happen in isolation. There was a trigger, and that trigger was what prompted the military to take over. And even though I do not like military takeover, I prefer democracy. I like the peace I enjoy. I want to move without being scared of hearing, shoot, In
a situation whereby the country is having unrest, actually the military is going to take over because, of course, the citizens are complaining and they are not happy with some certain things, and they are saying that the democracy there is not working for them. The military has to take over. At that point, you can see that, like you said, that it's definitely going to trigger something. Something was triggered before the whole incident happened. So something actually happened that the military took. What do you think about our country? Do we also go for military takeover?
No. People who have actually experienced a military regime in Nigeria will tell you they do not want it.
Okay.
There was orderliness, but you see that freedom of speech.
The military
you see that freedom that
obey before complaint.
Yes, so you see all of that freedom that we are enjoying now, you cannot enjoy to the military. It's good for the orderliness, but my sister, I tell you, the language the military understands is shoot. I remember Mrs. Egbelu, my government teacher in secondary school, she would just say, Chinatu, you do not want, because I kept saying, when I hear all the beautiful stories about orderliness and how things are so structured during the military rule.
But at the same time, things were moving well.
Yeah. Yeah. And how it was like, oh, people just obeyed. The moment you hear the anthem, wherever you are, Nigerians were so patriotic. You stand. It doesn't matter where you are, because you do not want to be taken to the guard room. I was just saying all of those stories. So I was telling her that, can it happen again? And I was speaking as a child who was just curious to feel what it felt. And she said, my daughter, the only language the military understands is shoot. You do not want it. And
there is no second chance. There is no pardon anywhere.
And I think I can see her reason today. I can see it. But it feels like we are abusing the democracy that we have, which is where people get frustrated. But then the people who even abuse it are guilty. You go to the bank today and if you do not follow you do not obey instruction, you hear the national anthem being sung and you keep moving.
People are just walking around,
So those are like the simple things that you cannot do. And I'm not saying the big ones. These are the simple things that you can't try during the military rule. And so let us also look at democracy backsliding. Do you think that it is driven by military alone? Don't you think that there are other things that are causing it? For instance, there's our constitutional manipulation, weakened electoral credibility, and governance failures that have now created room for stability. We just spoke about the number of people who are registering for election to vote during the elections in 2027. Do you know that before now, the moment portals are open for registering for voting in the election, rather, the crowd, it becomes a mammoth crowd. You could see the number of people, massive. But these days, people are very less concerned, reluctant. And many people even do it because they just want an ID. Those who cannot have international passport, let them have their voter card, and that's it.
People are not even putting interest anymore.
So there is that electoral, incredibility that has weakened trust of people.
A lot.
I do not think that military takeover coup is the function of the military. No, it's not. There are many triggers to it. There are things that add up and it becomes a problem.
Yes, the country is not settled. They are having unrest, and they are having unrest, and they are not well settled. So why not, if not? We need all these things to be put in place. And in as much as some people will say that, oh, I do not like military takeovers, I do not like hearing the word shoot, just like you just mentioned. But at the same time, if these things are not put in place, you would not enjoy your stay as a citizen. So yes, why not? Why not? So yes, why not? So you see, these things have to, happen for some shift, some repositioning, and some comfortability. As a citizen, you want to be comfortable. You will not want to be running here and there. So if in case you do not feel, oh, this is not supposed to happen, they're not supposed to have military takeovers, calm down, take a deep breath and think over it again. Ask yourself questions. Do you want the educational sector to be stable? Do you want the health sector to be stable? Do you want other things to be put in place? I believe when all these things are well arranged and put in place, they would have democracy again. What do you think?
So that place of governance failure is a very big one. Many people do not believe in the governance structure that we have.
Yes, of
because you go to schools and rural communities and they're still suffering. You still see communities where they've never seen electricity
before.
The 70-year-old man in that community has never seen electricity. And then the young ones who are now there are worried. And they wake up tomorrow and they get into the army and they are wondering, what can we do to fix things? And they think the best is to, plan a coup. And it shouldn't be, because these are things that can be avoided.
If the right things
are done. So this governance gap gives room for
what is happening right now.
The answers was an example for Nigeria. Young people were angry.
Yeah.
You go to Tanzania, young people are angry. You go to Niger, young people are angry. You go to Cameroon, when they announced Pobi as the president again, 42nd time, and you want to, for 2 years, you want to keep leading as the president. Nigeria has changed president how many times? We still have one president in Cameroon. So when the people in Cameroon protested when he was announced the winner, you could already feel the pulse of the anger. They were so frustrated, tired, but because somehow the government in power has been able to, hold things to ransom, it is hard for the young people to fight back. But my sister, by the time those young people are able to recoup and really mean the government and fight, you'll be wondering, where did it happen from?
I'm telling you.
And trust, these are the same young people that will not send you if you are doing the right thing.
Of course.
I think the problem is not even about longevity in power. It's about giving people access. I'll give an example. A lot of people, if you come to Nigeria, a lot of people are saying that they want the governor of Abia to stay for a long time.
Okay.
But they've not felt this level of unprecedented turn of events. The transformation is what they can't even describe in a short time, because he's working. It is the citizens by themselves that are saying they don't want him to go. And that's what I want politicians in Africa to know. If you do good, you don't have to campaign.
If you're working,
you're spending money on that campaign for nothing.
Don't come and give us manifestos that at the end of the day we're not saying nothing. If you're working, definitely people want you to stay. You don't need to stress yourself whether you're getting the vote or not. You're going to get the vote. On that day, you'll be shocked. Like, you're going to get, because now the young people, they are the futures of tomorrow. And I like the fact that they are spoken this time around. Anything they want to show off, they want to say we are not comfortable. Not like in those days where you use money to shut them up. Like right now, they might even collect your money, but at the end of the day, they will still speak out. They know what they want. They're standing by what they want. So I like the fact that people are actually talking. They're actually saying their mind. We're not comfortable with this. We're not comfortable with that. What I'm trying to say is that if you're in office, then do the work. Just do the work. When you do the work, you've already won the heart of the people. You don't need to contest too much. You don't need to say too much. Your work is speaking, and that settles everything. Okay, so we're still talking, Bene, and since Mary has said it. Okay. Mary has said it. Okay. When you let your work do the talking, when your work does the talking for you, it'll be very easy. Very easy. Every other thing will fall into place. But this question now, ECOWAS is currently at the crossroad of regional bodies facing credibility challenges, and people are wondering, can ECOWAS still deter coups effectively, or is its influence waning in the face of rising military assertiveness? I am of the opinion that ECOWAS is trying its best, but more needs to be done, because if ECOWAS is sitting at that regional, table, the way it should sit, coups should not even occur. Of course. It should not. So we want to see a democracy that can be, secured without force. We want to see a democracy that can be secured without military intervention. We can have that. And there's no two ways about it. With the right people in power, with the right thing done, all of that will fall into place. We would avoid all that. We will avoid all of that. So Nigeria intervening in Then, like we said yesterday, raised a lot of questions. People were saying, so we can be this swift in responding to situations. And we have a Brigadier General Uba up until today. There's no answers. We do not know if he's alive. We've not seen his body. The family does not even have closure. The brigadier has just been, all we saw was a video. People argued that video was doctored. However, if there's no doctored video, can we see it? And up until today, there are too many questions on the mouths of Nigerians. We cannot answer those questions. We do not know if Brigadier Uba is alive or not. What we saw and what people are holding on to is that video that was released by the bandits where he was shot. And why was he shot? This is somebody who had released his coordinates, his location. He had disclosed it, and yet there was no intervention until he was tracked down and killed. There was sabotage and he was killed. And up until today, we're still waiting for the investigation to happen. There is no closure for the family of Brigadier Uba. There's no closure for Nigerians. We do not know what happened. For a whole general. No statement has been released then. For a whole general, and there are too many questions. I remember the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, saying that he had released his coordinates, and up until today, there are no answers to the questions that Nigerians are asking. Nobody knows where he is, if he's still alive or dead. But we were able to intervene in a whole country that is also sovereign. That is what is, eating me up. Nigeria was able to jump into Benin and restore order very fast. But we have communities that have been
people are abducted in communities in Nigeria. Communities are seeing other insecurity attacks.
What's going on?
And the question remains, what is going on? What do we need to do? I don't know how to, it's a mixed feeling because I'm happy that we have a president who is very proactive.
Yes.
For him to have been able to assemble the military to, have that, have been under control, especially sitting at the helm of affairs at ECOWAS, tells a lot. But also, he should tell more back home. We appreciate the efforts in saying that. We saw Khan yesterday saying that they've not gotten real confirmation about their released girls in the community in Niger State. Yes, they've not gotten closure on that. We've not gotten any statement on that too. We saw the ones that were released from Kwara. We do not know, was ransom paid? What was the negotiation like? It may not be information for the public, but people want to understand.
How did the
release happen? These are questions that are begging for answers, and I'm hoping that our government rises to the occasion to respond as candidly as possible.
As they responded in Benin.
Yes, because I am happy that we responded in Benin. It just tells me that, okay,
we can do better.
That means we can do better. Promptly act. That's the key takeout for me. We can promptly act. For us to have been able to mobilize the military to get into Benin and intervene in that short period of time, we can triple that effort in our own communities.
Of course.
We are not traveling too far. These are communities in Nigeria. These are communities within. But yeah, well, it's good that we've seen the president, deploying the policemen and saying, VIPs cannot move anymore with police. Okay. So go back to where the terrorists are attacking, go back and secure our communities, go back and secure our lands, our borders. Yeah. Very good. But let us follow all of this with real results.
Of course, yes.
Let us follow all of this with providing closure for people like the family of Brigadier General Luba, and I'm sure we would be, at the right side of things.
Of course, like people will always say that charity begins at home. Anything you want to do, you begin it right at home here. We want to see an immediate action taking place already in this country because a lot is going on. And believe you me, people watching and reading will be like, oh, so they can actually respond very fast. And a lot has been going on since we've not been seeing response. We've not been hearing anything. It's quite sad. Do you mean to tell us that we should go to Benin and stay because we feel that we'll get answers there when we get there, and anything happens, they'll want to respond fast? We don't need to pack our bags and start going to Benin. Of course, we are in Nigeria here, and we believe that things will be put to place. Like Chinatu rightly said, that the Brigadier General, people need answers. We need answers. We really need to know what is happening. We're in democracy, there's freedom of speech, and people have asked a lot of questions.
Freedom of speech, but we don't have freedom after speech.
Ask a lot of questions about this, and let them come with the right answers. We need to know, especially the family members, how are they holding up? It's not easy for someone that is experiencing the kidnapping case firsthand. It's actually not the emotions that come with it and everything. Do you know what it means that you have your family member in a particular place you do not know whether the person is eating, feeding?
No, and they're sending very gory pictures of
I'm
them.
telling you.
Photos of them in
I'm telling you.
Very sad state.
It's very disheartening. We really, 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 really need some explanations to this as the comments keep coming.
Yeah, so I guess that's where we draw the curtain on today's Idea Morning Digest. But the conversation doesn't end here. What do you think? Is military intervention the right tool to protect our democracy, or are we ignoring deeper governance failures across the African region? We want you to join the conversation online by following us across different social media platforms at Idea TV. Share your thoughts, use the hashtag Idea West Africa, and catch us on this conversation every other time. My name is Chinatu Oji, and it's been such a pleasure to be having this discuss with Mary Ojumajo. Thank you so much, Mary. Let's keep it going. See you tomorrow.